Welcome viewers to Historical Journeys. As Princeton researchers inspected minuscule parts of a shooting star that arrived on Earth exactly a long time back, they find something shocking. In the first place, the specialists found that bits of the stone are fertilizer of an unimaginably uncommon mineral called feline or kite, which in itself is somewhat striking. However, that isn't the only surprise that's in store. The feline or guide contains a glass-like structure that appears to oppose the laws of natural material science. It looks fairly outsider as a matter of fact. Researchers unearthed a shooting star in Siberia, and inside they made an extraterrestrial revelation. But before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. It only takes a second, and you won't miss any of our future videos. Let's get started. Is anyone surprised that shooting stars can't simply be wherever on Earth like three rocks on a sander? One of the most amazing researchers to respond to this question is Paul Steinhardt, the Albert Einstein teacher of science at Princeton College, who was instrumental in examining the quasi crystals in the Katrinka shooting star. Steinhardt was crushed when he and Luca Bindi sent the examples to Princeton College geologist Lincoln Hollister. Hollister at first believed that the quasi crystals were the aftereffect of modern cycles on the planet, not of extraterrestrial beginning. In any case, after additional exploration, Hollister, Bindi, and Steinhardt presumed that the design was likely not man-made. This gives off an impression of being because of the wealth of a substance found in shooting stars, called silica, which is uncommon, and Hollister says it was not made by aluminum machines on a superficial level of the country. However, this is surprising given that it is only an invention. Notwithstanding, researchers recently believed that quasi-crystals, made in a lab in 1987, were too unsound to even consider existing in nature. Presently, just a single inquiry remains: whether the quasi-crystals shaped on the planet or elsewhere. At the point when Sheckman was concentrating on magnesium and aluminum, he found a gem design he had never seen. However, Sheckman observed a cluster with distinct clusters. Pat Thiel, a materials researcher at Iowa State College, gives an illustration of ceramic tile establishment to represent the properties of quasi-crystals. The professor explained in an interview with PBS in 2011 that you can use square, triangular, rectangular, or hexagonal tiles to cover the floor of the bathroom. Imagine that the atoms of the material you're using are in different positions in a quasi-crystal. What Danny Sheckman found is that square balance works. However, harsh triangles or squares fit well, leaving holes in the example. In any case, a few researchers laughed at Sheckman's revelation of quasi-crystals for quite some time, since they didn't completely accept that it could refute sound judgment about precious stone development. Sheckman said in a press release from Iowa State University in 2011 that I was alone for a long time. In addition, Sheckman opposed the crystal chronology in the state of Iowa, defending his colleague's position for many years up until Pauline's passing. I was off base. What's more, sooner or later, I partook in each snapshot of the logical fight despite the fact that I realized I was off base. In any case, the legitimate award for quasi-crystals is the Nobel Prize in Science that Sheckman won in 2011. Sherry of the College of Wisconsin-Madison let PBS know that the strength of quasi-crystals is a material that will be found from here on out. Nonetheless, the primary notable exploration on quasi-crystals was a manufactured model. Quasi-crystals were accepted to be excessively plentiful to normally frame. Starting around 1999, Steinhardt has been looking for indications of regular precious stones. Yet after a decade, he tracked down instances of felines or kites. The Italian model was later found to be covered in crystals. At the end of the day, quasi-crystals are made of issue, not earth. Furthermore, when our child was conceived this time, Steinhardt knew such a great amount about the outside climate of his gems that he realized he needed to discuss these things. However, where could the examples in the Florence gallery have been? In a meeting with Quantum magazine in 2014, Steinhardt said we want to contemplate how the stone wound up in the historical center. So he should initially examine the starting points of felines or kites. And like a scientist with high expectations for the early history of Florence, he finds a letter. The message said the container containing the drill came from Amsterdam, Netherlands, and was offered to the gallery by a city gatherer named Coca-Cola was not tracked down in the Netherlands. At a party in Florence, Stein becomes excited about individual specialist Bindi entertaining different visitors with a tale about a secretive shooting star and a dull round of Kulpik. What's more, he additionally asked the neighbor auntie. Kopik discovered that her late husband, Nicholas Kopik, was the collector she knew with the same name. Moreover, in spite of the fact that Mrs. Koch knew nothing about the questioning in the crate, she permitted Bindi to track down her dead spouse's papers, including what Mrs. Cox said was her better half's mystery book, or uncover something brilliant. It appears that Tim, a Romanian man, sold this model to this collector. She didn't, yet she uncovered that her significant other had a mystery book, and the story was extremely useful. A mystery book uncovered reality with regards to Copa Feline, who bought the safeguarded feline example from Leonard Rasmus of the Platinum Fortune organization in St. Louis. Bidey had likewise known about Razum when the feline or kite was first located during the 1980s. The feline or kite was thusly sold by Kopic to the Florence Gallery. What we in all actuality do know are designs found in the Koryak Mountains. Steinhardt and Bindi appear to be back in total agreement. However, clearly they needed to come down on Steinhardt, who chose to peruse the 1985 report on felines or kites. Steinhardt discovered that Cray Ajiko co-authored a study in 1995 while searching for scientific publications in Russia. Steinhardt later told Crime Watch he reviewed the second he found COE's name. The physicist then, at that point, figures out how to find Hunch Go, presently in his 60s, in the Russian capital Moscow, and in the wake of utilizing Google Mean conquer the language boundary. Ajiko joyfully lets him know what he knows. It would seem in the last part of the 1970s, when Cray Ajiko was as yet an alumni understudy, he had been recruited by Razdan to look for platinum. So Cray Ajiko flew by helicopter to a remote piece of Siberia, so his closest settlement was many miles away. More specifically, the vehicle landed in a stream called Dady at List Bennett. The rundown, Bennett Tavi stream is situated in the Koryak piles of eastern Siberia in a space called Baysky, which is itself a disengaged piece of the country. What's more, when her shout rose, Ajiko uttered a weighty sound looking for platinum. In spite of the fact that there were no hints of valuable metals, the understudies ran over abnormal lumps of metal in the progress. He yelled to Ajiko and gave the weird substance to Razum. Also, truth be told, that was the last he had some awareness of it until Steinhardt and Bindi reached him years after the fact. Moreover, it was accepted that individuals could remain in this piece of the country for half a month a year, implying that the valuable open doors for investigation were really restricted. Steinhardt reviewed. Then again, I just had a single opportunity to CO with Valerie Squat. During a brief summer thought phase, the 13-strong group, which included Steinhardt, Bindi, and most importantly Crouchgo himself, set off for faraway locations. The group then set up an impermanent lab on location to dissect the examples and started diving into the intriguing blue-green mud. On the main day of the cycle, as a matter of fact, Wendy saw a stone in the soil that he accepted was important for a shooting star. Be that as it may, researchers utilized 1.5 lots of soil, a few kilograms of tests, and endured over 7 days. Then at that point, now is the ideal time to return home. We passed through the mountains the following day and thinking back, everything turned out to be clear, Steinhardt later said to describe their flight. Strangely, the shooting star pieces were not just an uncommon combination of copper and aluminum, yet additionally contained regular minerals. The CAT library's material combinations were analyzed and production concepts developed over the course of 2 years by Hollister and others. Specialists trust the combination of quasi crystals and different materials is the consequence of a gigantic impact between two space rocks. A different layer of material on the right, including quasi crystals formed by violet asteroids colliding, is another possibility. However, researchers readily acknowledge that there is still a lot to learn about how quasi-natural crystals are made. This preparing is the first of its sort. Thanks for watching. If you want to stay updated with our latest videos, subscribing is the way to go. Just click that red button below and become a part of our channel family.